What's your plan when the grid goes down and lawlessness spreads across the land? In a world where survival is paramount, securing and defending your bug-out location is more than a necessity, it's a lifeline. It's not just about finding a safe haven, it's about holding on to it when chaos reigns. The threats are real, and they won't just be desperate survivors, but organized groups ready to claim what you've painstakingly set up. In the face of such realities, there's a strategy that stands tall, a blueprint for survival. The 4 Ds of defense: delay, deter, detect, and defend. This isn't about building fantasy forts, it's about crafting a realistic, tactical defense that prepares you for the worst from day one. It's about developing a layered defense system that buys you time, gives you a warning, and offers you control over your survival ground. So let's dive into the 4 Ds and see how you can build a layered defense system for your survival. Delay, the first D. It's all about making intruders work for every step they take. It's not just about keeping the bad guys out, it's about making it as difficult as possible for them to get in. The more obstacles you put in their way, the more time and energy they have to spend to reach you. Every second they spend navigating your defenses is another second you have to prepare your response. Think about the natural barriers that are already in place. Fallen trees, brambles, ditches. These can all be used to your advantage. Don't let anything go to waste. Even the most innocuous-looking natural feature can be turned into a formidable barrier with a bit of creativity. But don't just rely on what's already there. Homemade obstacles can be just as effective. A pile of rocks, a makeshift fence, even a carefully placed stack of firewood can slow an intruder down. Remember, your aim isn't necessarily to stop them altogether, just to delay them for as long as possible. The layout of your camp also plays a crucial role in delaying intruders. By strategically positioning your shelters and resources, you can create bottlenecks that force intruders to take a specific route. This makes it easier for you to predict their movements and prepare accordingly. Consider the approaches to your camp. Are there any natural choke points you can use to your advantage? Any open areas that would expose an intruder? Use these to your advantage. The harder it is for someone to approach your camp without being seen, the better. And remember, delay is about more than just physical barriers. It's also about psychological tactics. The more intimidating your defenses appear, the more hesitant an intruder will be to attempt to breach them. Make it clear that getting into your camp won't be easy, and you'll find that many would-be intruders decide it's not worth the effort. Remember, every second you delay them, you're buying yourself more time to react. The more time you have, the better prepared you'll be. So, make them work for every step they take. It could be the difference between survival and disaster. Next up is Deter. How do you make potential intruders think twice before approaching your camp? The key is to create an environment that screams, "You're in for a tough time if you step any closer." First, consider visible deterrents. These can range from perimeter signs warning of the consequences of trespassing to more overt warning devices. An old-fashioned scarecrow might seem cliché, but it sends a clear message: this is not unclaimed territory. Now, deterrents aren't just about physical obstacles. They're also psychological. Make your camp look risky to approach. Show signs of resourcefulness and readiness. Maybe it's a well-maintained perimeter or the visible presence of defensive traps. But remember, these traps should be legal and non-lethal. The goal is not to harm, but to deter. This is where subtlety becomes crucial. You don't want to reveal all your defenses at once. Why? Because if an intruder can see all your cards, they can strategize to overcome them. Instead, make it clear that you have defenses, but keep their specifics a mystery. This unknown factor will make potential invaders think twice. For example, you might have a visible tripwire that's easily avoidable. It doesn't actually serve to trip anyone, but it does make intruders wonder what other, less visible traps you might have in place. Remember, the goal of deterrence is to appear too much trouble to mess with. You want potential intruders to look at your camp and decide it's not worth the risk. Most people, especially in a survival situation, will opt for the path of least resistance. Make sure your camp isn't that path, but don't rely solely on deterrence. It's just one layer of your defense. Some threats might decide to take the risk. That's where your other defensive layers come in. You'll need to be able to delay them, detect them, and if it comes down to it, defend your camp. Subtlety can be your best ally. Don't show your full hand. Keep them guessing, and you'll keep them at bay. Detect, the third D. How do you know they're coming before they even know you're aware of them? You might be wondering. Well, the answer lies in early warning systems. We're talking tripwires, noise traps, visual observation posts. These are your eyes and ears when you can't be everywhere at once. Tripwires and noise traps are your first alert, a signal that someone or something is entering your space. String a few cans along a wire, scatter some twigs or dry leaves strategically, and you've got yourself a primitive but effective alarm system. And don't be quick to dismiss visual observation posts. A well-placed lookout can spot trouble from a distance, giving you valuable time to prepare. Whether it's a tree stand, a high rock, or a camouflaged hide, having a vantage point can make all the difference. Now let's talk about setting up detection layers. Think of your camp as the center of a series of concentric circles. The outermost circle is your first line of detection. This is where your tripwires and noise traps come into play. They give you the earliest possible warning of an approaching threat. Your middle perimeter is your second layer. This is where your visual observation posts are crucial. They provide a way to confirm and assess the threat. Are they armed? How many are there? Are they moving fast or slow? Your inner camp is your last line of detection. This is where you'll want something more immediate, more intimate. Think bells on your tent flaps, a watchdog, even the crunch of gravel underfoot. Detection is all about staying one step ahead. Use simple, low-tech gear to your advantage. Mirrors can help you see around corners or over obstacles. Bells serve as an audio alert when strung on a wire. Passive noise traps like dry leaves or loose gravel can alert you to an intruder's presence. Remember, the key here is to be proactive, not reactive. The earlier you detect a threat, the more time you have to implement your defense plan. And in a survival situation, time is everything. In the words of the great Sun Tzu, know your enemy and know yourself, and you can fight 100 battles without disaster. Detection is all about staying one step ahead. Use simple, low-tech gear to your advantage. Finally, the last D, defend. This is your last line of survival. When all else fails, when your delays have been breached, your deterrents ignored, and your detections triggered, it's time to defend your safe haven. Defense isn't just about brandishing your weapons and charging into conflict. It's about creating a safety net within your camp with strong points and fallback positions. These are areas you've fortified heavily, where you and your group can rally if the outer defenses are breached. Strong points could be a reinforced shelter, a dugout, or a natural feature like a dense thicket or rocky outcrop that's hard to penetrate. But defense isn't static. It's about controlling movement within your camp. Design your camp layout with strategic fire points in mind. These are positions from which you can cover the most ground with clear lines of sight and no blind spots. They give you maximum control over the area, allowing you to respond effectively to any intrusion. And remember, defending your camp doesn't always mean going loud and drawing attention. Sometimes, the best defense is a quiet one. If you're outnumbered or outgunned, a stealthy defense might be your best bet. This could mean using silent weapons like bows or crossbows, or employing diversion tactics to misdirect intruders while you slip away. However, let's not forget one crucial point. Sometimes the smartest form of defense is not to fight at all. If your camp is seriously compromised, if the threat is too great or too many, then it may be time to escape. Escaping is not a sign of cowardice. It's a strategy for survival. Always have a plan in place for a quick and stealthy exit. Your bug-out location is important, but it's not more important than your lives. So, there you have it. Defend, the final D in our 4 Ds of defense. Remember, your ultimate goal is survival. Whether that means fighting or fleeing, always be ready, always be prepared. Because in the end, sometimes escaping is smarter than fighting. Always have a plan. Now that we've covered the 4 Ds, let's talk about common mistakes that could get you overrun. A major blunder is setting up camp too close to water sources or roads. While it may seem convenient, it's also the first place potential intruders will look. Visibility is a liability in survival situations. Another common mistake is building a camp that's too obvious from the air or the trail. Stealth is your friend. Make your camp blend into its surroundings. Use the natural landscape to your advantage. Then there's overconfidence. The belief that your camp is impregnable can lead to complacency. Remember, the most dangerous enemy is the one you don't see coming, so no matter how good your defenses, always stay on guard. Now, let's move on to smart camp layout for maximum defense. Where you pitch your tents and build your shelters is crucial. Choose locations that are hidden but ready. Hidden from prying eyes but ready for a quick escape if necessary. Use natural camouflage to your advantage. Trees, bushes, rocks, they're all potential disguises for your camp. Defensive landscaping is an art. Shape the land around your camp to create natural barriers and vantage points. But always keep the principle of ghost camping in mind. Leave no trace. Your camp should be like a ghost, unseen and unheard until it's too late for the intruders. And remember, always have 2 exit strategies, one quick for when you need to flee immediately, and one stealthy for when you need to slip away unnoticed. Your bug-out camp is your fortress, your sanctuary, but it's also your biggest vulnerability. A smart layout and a keen understanding of common mistakes can turn it into a bulwark of survival. So, there you have it. The 4 Ds of defense and the common mistakes to avoid when setting up a bug-out camp. Remember, survival is about making yourself the harder target. So that's it. The 4 Ds of defense: delay, deter, detect, and defend. These 4 principles form the core of any robust defense strategy. By creating layers of obstacles and deterrents, you make your camp a hard target, discouraging potential threats. This isn't about building a fortress, but about being smart, using your environment to your advantage, and staying one step ahead. Remember the importance of early detection. It's your early warning system that buys you precious time. And when it comes to defense, think tactically. It's not always about firepower, but about controlling the situation and knowing when to fight and when to escape. Avoid common pitfalls like camping too close to visible resources or being overconfident in untested defenses. And always plan your camp layout with defense in mind. Remember, you can't stop every threat, but if you can delay them, deter them, detect them early, and defend smart, you'll make your bug-out camp one of the last places anyone wants to attack.